That first morning, we chose left and walked down the only road on the island. When we came to the end of the road, we could see the turquoise water ahead. We traipsed across the pasture and then beachcombed over the gajillion rocks and around the huge boulders, apparently the most ancient on Earth. We came to the giant mound. We looked up, practically losing our hats. I said, "Yeah, I'm going up." He hesitated and shook his head. I scrambled up and up over and over the boulders until finally I arrived on the plateau of green high above. I looked around, breath taken away. I looked down at my brother and waved. I cried out, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness!" I think I was channeling my grandmother, I'm not sure. I paused, only briefly, before finding my way back down.
I felt like a sculpture of twisted knots, but I'm going. I am not holding back. I scrambled over rocks higher and higher above the ocean. I told my feet, "You are learning a sacred choreography." At the top, where my sister had stood, I danced and shouted, "I did it!" She waved at me. I'm stronger than I imagined. Still, I needed to rest. My legs needed to soak in hot, healing bath salts. My knee required ice.
As the downpour slowed to a drizzle, I hiked across the green pasture where sheep still huddled together. I'm pretty sure one of them rolled his eyes at me. I came to the edge of the white strand of the Monk's Beach.
I stayed in my cell with peppermint tea and interstellar jazz, writing poems. The solitude was invigorating.
I could see huge walls of black rock shining wet from the rain and then glistening as the sun came out. I walked towards it. It was a hallway without a roof. The stepping stones were uneven mosaics swirling green and yellow into the black. I gingerly walked through while sliding my hands along the sleek and smooth. As I came to the end, I stepped down into the sand.
Later, I hobbled outside and explored the shoreline of St. Martin's Bay. The Iona rocks are reckless hard to endure eons of such stormy weather, to rise up, hold themselves so boldly, confidently against the icy waters. I chose one and sat with my journal open on my lap.
Someone had lovingly constructed the tiniest labyrinth. I tiptoed around it, danced through it, even birdwalked a little. I picked up a boulder and planted it at the end of the spiral to make one more step.
The sky and the water were the same palette of grays, occasionally dabbed and streaked with white sunlight. Sometimes I felt a third presence all around me.
Then Dun-Un called to me. So I hiked up the slippery hillside through ankle-deep muck to the tip-top of that mini mountain where I could see the ocean all around the island. I twirled in triumph.
At St. Martin's Bay on the Isle of Iona, tiny white flowers stained the color of tea have gathered, each petal smaller than a fly's wing, the entire bloom no bigger than an infant's thumbnail, floats on stiff, wiry stems nested in pillowy moss in the broken face of a steadfast boulder. The delicate congregation vibrates in the wind. The florets sway, kiss each other. The waves nearby sigh and sigh again. The muted light sweeps the gray sand. I hunker, hooded above the assembly, hugging myself.
We ate a big breakfast.
Porridge, toast, marmalade, stewed prunes, orange juice.
We shared a huge pot of tea.
This day was the focus of my pilgrimage, a day I'd imagined since my first pilgrimage here 5 years earlier ended barely 24 hours after it began, because our mother died and I had to get home.
Now, just 2 weeks after our father's death, there we were, together, intending to honor both our parents.
Iona is a sacred place with a long history of healing. Well, I didn't believe I would be healed. I was never going to be cured any more than I could be suddenly younger. All I could do was push on in whatever ways I could. So I loaded my pack with food and water, rain gear, extra socks, and chanted quietly for my legs to carry me all the way. The trail rose, straight and steep. My knobby boot soles dug in, grabbed and held against the jagged rocks. I was worried about my knee. Well, I was worried about my hips, calves, thighs, if they would hold, grip, lift, carry me.
Sometimes I asked, "Do you need a rest?"
Sometimes I said, "I need a rest." I heard my teacher's voice. Listen to your body. Take deep belly breaths.
There's no right or wrong way. There's only your way, this way, now. At the crest, we rested a while, then started the trip down to Columbus Bay.
I knew I could make it then, but I forced myself not to think of the way back.
The wind was brisk.
We kept our jackets on.
When we arrived, we stumbled like children over the piles of smooth, ocean-worn stones to the narrow stretch of sand where the watered lap licked the shore.
We scrambled over ancient boulders to a ledge over the water. We looked down into a sea swish of seaweeds. We took turns saying words about our mother, then tossed a glass swan into the water. We took turns saying words about our father, then tossed in a stone angel.
Then we slid off the boulder to the dune of smooth stones, hunkered out of the wind and ate our lunch, quietly, alone in our thoughts. Soon we were scooping up handfuls of stones,
Scooping up.
looking for mermaids' tears. The rocks. 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 Acres of smooth, round, ancient, polished rocks shifted with each step. Heart in sync with crunch of walking feet and forever. Time. Wrapped in the veil, falling down, digging, scooping deeper. Finally, my tears mingled with mermaids' tears that dripped through fingers. Perfect pebble tears promised. Promise fulfilled. My heart was saturated in grief as joyful gratitude overflowed into my soul. The rocks. The rocks. The rocks. The rocks. The rocks. The rocks. The rocks.